Still must acknowledge the chairman of this occasion, ably represented. Thank you for coming. And I must, of course, acknowledge the wonderful author and her husband and her family. I acknowledge the presence of everybody here. I acknowledge my colleague on the Cabinet of Lagos State, Mrs. Toke Benson Awoyinka. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I hope we'll have a great time here. And I'll try and be brief, but it's not going to be very easy. First of all, I must thank Morayo. Morayo, thank you. I'm honored to be asked to speak. And many of you will be wondering, where on earth, right, is she inviting me because I was the Commissioner for Education or what? No. I've known Morayo since she was like a 5 or 6 year old girl. We lived opposite each other in a place called Afolabi-Brown, where her mother lived until she passed on, for those of us who know her well at home. We lived across the road. We were tenants in the building across the road. And I saw this little girl in her red and white Corona uniform for the first time. If you've been here a while and you've seen some of the videos play, they talked about her loneliness. I thought she was an only child, because she was there in the house with her mom and dad and nobody else. I didn't know that her brothers had grown and left the home many years before we became neighbors. And so I totally understood it when he said she was lonely. She was. And I always used to see her playing by herself. And here I must acknowledge, and I don't know, I hope they will hear me somewhere, but the neighbors, the tenants, her mother's tenants, Mr. and Mrs. Adeshokmo. Mr. Adeshokmo is late now, known as Desho. They took this girl as their daughter because they had only boys. So there we were in a very nice enclave. And many years later, I saw her again. And I knew her immediately. She had hardly changed. And from then on till now, I don't know, our relationship has just grown bigger and bigger. When I became the commissioner, she came to me and said, I want to work with you. She actually worked in my office for like 3.5 years without any pay. She used to come in after review and volunteer. She taught me many things. She's very fashionable, as you can see. I am not. And she was able to help me many times. This is what you do your hair, do this, do that. She was very, and that was just a minor part of everything. But because she was also involved whenever we were brainstorming about solutions, brainstorming about what next action to take, brainstorming about what was most suitable for the state. In fact, everything we did, she was heavily involved. MC at our events, again free of charge. So I thank you, Morayo, and I ask you to please help me thank her by giving her a wonderful round of applause. She was in my office almost every day, and there were times maybe once a week or twice a week after we had watched her on the video. It was always uncanny to see her because you would have seen her in that dress, and then here she would be, she would come in that dress again. And of course, she introduced me to her lovely husband, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm a member of their family, and their lovely children as well. So I'm so happy to be here today. I thank you. I feel honored. I thank you. God bless you. She could have called anybody, but she remembered this old auntie living across the road. So what are we celebrating here today? I will start by talking about her parents, because I think you must always talk about somebody's antecedents. Where did this girl come from? First of all, her mother, who is the only woman who I have accepted my husband describing as very beautiful in my presence. I don't think it's easy for you to hear your husband saying, fine, kilo day. But I accepted that because it was absolutely true. A beautiful woman, kind, compassionate. She lived across from us, and she was also a confidant to me at times I had problems where I was living. Her father, who we know was one of Nigeria's greatest and best. And I felt honored to be living across the road from Alao Akabasho, who was an activist, and you know how he was. Beko, the days of Fela, Beko, and so on. He was such a great activist. And I think my husband allowed me also to say I thought he was one of the most handsome men I had ever seen. So when a handsome man marries a beautiful woman, I think we know what will result. What is the result of that kind of union? So you can see the physical beauty in Morayo. But she's way, of course, more than that. Physical beauty is wonderful. It's the first thing you see. It's impactful, it's great. And she's all that and more. But you know that there's a lot more to her than the physical beauty. There's intelligence, there's wit, there's compassion, there's elegance, there's a spirit of excellence. And it's all this that we are celebrating today. 10 years of that remarkable program. What does the title of the book launch say? 10 years Talk TV. Morayo, you can imagine how it is for someone like me to see that young girl who actually had to ask me when I had a baby that, where is this baby from? How did you arrive at carrying this baby? And I had to explain that I had a big tummy some months ago and I'm now flat. Well, can you imagine that girl? You now see her, a distinguished, accomplished, beautiful woman. This, and like I said, it's not just all those things. It's how she has been strong enough to speak her truth. And sometimes when I look back and say, what are her antecedents? What kind of manner of woman is this? What manner of girl is this? How did she get to this? Morayo was the first head girl of the Corona Secondary School. A brand new school, she was the first girl and was always celebrated as the first head girl. So right from that time, she had been showing signs of leadership, of excellence, of dynamism, even among her peers. And so today we are celebrating these 10 years. And I looked down and said, what has she been doing? She has given women a voice. So that it's not just women doing shows like, makeup and beauty and so on. But women talking about hard topical issues of the day. Women having their own opinions. Women influencing what people... I know a lot of people wake up in the morning and they have to listen to Morayo and Co. Especially when major issues are being discussed that concern all of us. Human rights issues, humanitarian issues, political issues, individual issues. Nothing is off the table. And that's why when her husband was talking and said, why would you run naked? She has already run naked on 10 years. And we've seen her. And we've seen the beauty of it all. So continue to speak your truth. Continue to speak your truth in public discourse. I remember when people were really harassing her. Why are you seem to be partisan. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And she was able to answer, like Oprah Winfrey did, that she has a very good reason for making up her mind about whoever she wants to follow. And nobody's going to influence her. I don't know if I can openly tell the story of Alao Akabashorun and the president of this country. Of course, her father was ill for many years before he passed on. And the president was one of the few people who supported her mother through thick and thin. And she was not ready to forget that. Again, loyalty. In the face of a lot of criticism, in fact, I don't know how she coped with it, of being judged, and of people not understanding the full details but judging you without knowing why you are doing what you are doing. Thank you for your loyalty. God bless you. So in over these 10 years, they've created many pathways for many women. Women have seen and said, oh, I too can become like this. I too have a voice. I have an opinion. I can say what I want. And in this regard and respect, I thank her husband. He's a strong man, isn't he? There are many men who would not be able to cope with that. Why are you saying this? Well, people are laughing at me in the club. People are laughing at me and saying things. But I think Afolabi-Brown is one of the strongest men I know. And he waded through it through thick and thin. That say what you like. This is my home. This is my wife. This is how I want to live my life. So I say thank you to him again. So Morayo, creating pathways, breaking the glass ceiling, leading the way, empowering girls everywhere, especially girls who do not have much hope. You know? And showing the impact of the girl child. If she hadn't done many of the things that she did, many girls would not have a voice and would not be able to find a direction. She showed us that you can be anything you want to be. I want to be on TV. I want to be known. I want people to hear my voice. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's what she did. So during the process, like I said, she faced so much criticism, personal attacks, personal abuse, threats, unfair most of the time, accusations and so on. I remember even some scandals. Some people say, why did you say this? You are demeaning your husband. Am I right? You had one or two of those angry Twitter messages, Facebook, but she weathered through it all. I don't know if I could have coped like you did. I'm sure I would have almost collapsed from the sorrow of it all, but she stayed strong. But how was it done? It was done because of her innate qualities. Like I said, what manner of person is this? And we've seen the integrity and the strength and the resilience, and she sustained this thing for 10 years. The ability, the professionalism. But she also had teamwork. The group of ladies who worked with her, I met with them once or twice and I had to greet them. I think it was a good thing. There was no group thing. Some of them will go this way, some will go this way. That made it even more interesting. And over the years, you've grown. It wasn't like this 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. Even your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings about things have altered over time, showing growth. We are now at the cutting edge of so many things. And I'm happy that this is happening to you. I'm trying not to read too much from this. There was a moment I wept when I was writing this. And I will go to that moment. There was teamwork, but there was leadership. You see, in any team, there must be a leader. And she was the leader of that team. And like I said, I respect all the beautiful ladies on the team, but I know that she had to be a leader. And this came again from her antecedents, from home. Remember her father who fought Abacha. Many people here don't know what it was like at that time. You dared not say anything to your own child, your own biological child, because you don't know whether your child can say something careless somewhere and they come for you in the middle of the night. People were that scared. You can imagine when we had 5 political parties and they all had one presidential candidate. Please try and guess who that presidential candidate was. So, a girl from such a family, from such a man, from such a woman, what kind of woman would she turn out to be? And she now went out and married a man who was strong and who was determined and who supported her. Help me clap for Morayo. Oh, shine nice. Even there's something called the ovarian vote. You won it. And you won the married vote as well. Leadership, what is leadership? Leadership is influence, leadership is vision and a mission. Leadership is putting God first. Leadership is being steadfast in her beliefs and